Hey everybody, welcome to the preload for the training on the Spokane Belt with multi-use strap. So quick little background, Kennewick Fire has purchased a Spokane Belt and multi-use strap for each one of our firefighters, and in order to get them in service we need to do some training. So this is going to be a quick overview of the belts, how they function, how to use them for a bail and hang type evolution, and then this will be in preparation of getting out on the drill ground and being able to put it into use. So before we take a look at the belts themselves, let's talk about what the Spokane Belt actually is and how it's going to be used. So when classifying harnesses, NFPA made some slight changes to the standard. And not only did they make a change to the standard itself, but they combined several of the rescue standards into one new standard, NFPA 2500. In 2500, they did away with the Class 1 classification. If you remember, that used to be what a ladder belt was. So that's taken away completely, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. A Class 2 harness continues to be a harness that captures the waist, both thighs, and has an attachment point at the waist, and is rated for 2 people. The Class 3 harness is just the Class 2 harness with shoulder straps. This is to prevent coming out of the harness if inverted. It also works well because it has a dorsal attachment, which makes it nice for a belay system, or if you're using it in a confined space type situation. So as far as belts that used to be classified as Class 1 harnesses, the NFPA 2500 has broken that into a few different groups. The 2 groups we're going to talk about are ladder belts and escape belts. So ladder belts are what we have carried on the ladder truck for years. It's used to secure yourself to the ladder. The requirement that we need to take into account later on in the training is that NFPA specifies that a ladder belt cannot allow more than 24 inches of distance from the ladder to the belt. This is to prevent a long fall and a shock of the system or a shock to the ladder, and we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. Ladder belts must have a positioning point which is rated at 11 kilonewtons. So an escape belt, which is what the Spokane Belt is, are designed for emergency escape. They're worn around the waist and have at least one attachment point. The difference between a positioning point and an attachment point is the positioning point is designed just for hanging, where the attachment point is designed for rappelling. So we're basically talking about a static load versus a dynamic load. So the escape belt has the attachment point, and the ladder belt has the positioning point. The last requirement of an escape belt is that it must be fire resistant. To wear the belt, we're going to take the clip and attach it to the attachment point on the left. There's also another attachment point on the right hand side of the belt. There's the attachment point we clip to. There's a positioning point on the end of the multi-use strap and a floating attachment point on the left hand side. To wear the multi-use strap, with the carabiner attached to the attachment point, we'll run the strap between our legs and attach the clip to the positioning point on the strap. We'll then store the strap inside your structural pants pocket. An alternative method to store the strap is by using an auxiliary strap that is connected to the escape belt. The auxiliary strap is wrapped and snapped around the MUS to store it in place. To deploy it, simply unsnap the auxiliary strap and unclip the clip from the positioning point. One difficulty we have found with the auxiliary strap is that it cannot be released by pulling on the MUS. You must unsnap the auxiliary strap first. Spokane Belt as a ladder belt, you'll need to unclip the MUS from the positioning point, wrap it around the ladder rung, and then reattach it to the positioning point. By wrapping it around the ladder, this will give you that maximum 24 inches allowed by NFPA for it to be a ladder belt. The adjustment of the strap allows you to shorten it if needed. Now let's talk about the bailout and hang evolution we're going to train on. First thing we need to do is establish an anchor. So all the anchors we're going to talk about today are going to be on the exterior of the wall by the window. This is where you're naturally going to be when you are in this situation. You're not going to be deep into the room somewhere looking for an anchor. You're going to be at that window trying to get yourself out. So the first anchor we're going to look at is the tool in the wall. This works really well when you're working with sheetrock or lath and plaster. It's quick to make it and is very secure. The next choice would be a tool against the wall. This can be done with a long tool or a short tool like a Halligan or an axe, and not as secure as in the wall, but it'll hold you pretty well once you get out that window. Now let's take a look at how we're going to perform the bailout. Once your anchor is secure, you're going to grasp the multi-use strap in your hand. You will then get your upper body onto the windowsill and out the window. With the hand grasping the strap, push down against the anchor to create the tension on the strap. At this point, you can just roll out the window. Notice that you must continue to push tension on that strap, loading the anchor until your body weight has fully loaded the strap. This will make it a nice, easy transition onto the strap and onto the anchor. Here's a look at it from another angle. So now that the firefighter is safely hanging out the window, we need to get him down. So what we found works the best with these ladders is to get that ladder as close to him as possible coming in from the side. We tried scooping him with the ladder coming up from below, and it just didn't work as well. You come in from the side and get as tight into him as possible. As you can see, this isn't quite close enough, so we scooted a little bit closer up against his body. He's able to get on that ladder a lot easier. All right, well, hopefully this has given you a real brief overview of what the Spokane Belt is and how we're going to use it. The next part, and the most important, is to get you out on the drill ground and practice. The training division will be setting up some days to everyone practiced and proficient. In order to do that, however, wherever we're doing any above ground training, we will be ensuring that you have a full fall arrest system. We're going to be using a fixed belay line with a Petzl ASAP. This is a self-belay system that requires no second person to belay. Here's a short video for you to watch to get you familiar with the device, but we will have people who are trained in the device out there on the drill ground operating it during our training.
The Petzl line of mobile fall arresters for ropes consists of two products: the ASAP for fall protection and the ASAP lock for difficult access. They are both designed to provide continuous fall protection and are easy to use. In the event of a sudden movement due to a fall, a slip, or an uncontrolled descent, the fall arrestor locks on the rope, stopping the user. The key to the system lies in a unique working principle. At moderate speeds, the device moves back and forth freely in both directions. A sudden downward movement accelerates the locking wheel's rotation. Centrifugal force activates internal weights that stop this rotation. The arm pivots on its axis, and the device locks by pinching the rope between the locking wheel and the frame of the device. This locking concept, based on the rotational speed of the locking wheel, works in every potential situation encountered at a work site, whether moving up or down, or with the rope running vertically or diagonally. In a fall, the user's natural reaction is often to grab the device with both hands. The ASAP and ASAP lock ensure that the worker is protected, even in this type of situation. The ASAP fall arresters follow users wherever they go without requiring any manual operation. Thus, users always have both hands free in order to fully concentrate on the task at hand. The device can be placed anywhere on the rope.